Welcome everybody. This is Danny from Skillshare. We're so excited to have you all joining us today from all over the world to learn about Procreate Dreams. And I'm so excited to be joined here with SMITESH MISTRY out of the UK. Smit, turn your camera on. Come say what's up to the crowd. Hey, great to see you. Everyone, we're here for Animate Your Social Videos in Procreate Dreams with SMITESH MISTRY. Smit is a creator I've been lucky to work with for, it's been a couple of years now. Graphic designer. I know you've worked in, as a job with graphic design, but you've now moved into fully creating on your own as an independent creator, and make a ton of different art, animation, illustration, graphic design. And in this video, in this live session, you're going to be getting into social videos in Procreate Dreams. So everyone, what you can expect in today's session. First, we're going to get into importing any video files into the app. Smit has prepared some templates that you can use, some video templates. So in a second, we'll have a chance for you to download those. And then you're going to learn how to trace over footage and create fun transitions between video clips, which is just going to be super useful. Any videos you're taking on your phone, you can now animate over them in a really fun and intuitive way. So Smit's going to teach us how to do that. So now with that, we'd love for you to download the video files so you can follow along with the animations that Smit's going to be guiding us through today. So you can go ahead and use that QR code. You're going to want to download directly onto your iPad if you want to import them into Procreate Dreams. Or you could just use the short link we have here, skl.sh/SMITESH. We'll give you a second to do that. Smit, any quick tips on like this portion of things? Or if it's helpful, I can just stop sharing my screen and you can guide folks through the process.
Yeah, I can guide them as well. But a quick tip: when you click the link, it'll take you to a Google Drive folder. For some people, when you press the three dots next to the file, it'll give the option to download, but sometimes it doesn't. So if you don't see the download button, click Open With, and then let it download, and then Save to Files.
And maybe SMITESH, we'll let you kick it off. And if you're having any issues downloading, you can follow along with Smit.
Okay, perfect. Let me switch to my overhead camera. Okay, so when you click on the link, it should take you to this page. I'm going to click the link for the video files. And then to download, I'm just going to simply press the three buttons. So mine comes up with the download button. If not, you select Open With. And then I've saved those to my files.
Smit, could you actually share your screen just so they can see the details?
Sure. So then when you download it, I've just gone to my downloads, and then the file will pop up as a zip file. So if you just click the zip file, it should expand itself. And then when you click on the folder, the files should be there. So I've named them 1 through to 4. So initially, I'm going to start off by, I'll give you a quick run through of the interface, just briefly where things are. I will mention them as I'm using the tools, but I'll start with that. And then I'll go into importing these files. So I'm going to leave these in here for now. I'm just going to head into Dreams. So initially, when you open the app, this is the theater. You'll be presented with this. To start off, let's start a new movie. So to do this, I'm just going to press the plus icon in the top right. And for this video, because we're making social content, I'm going to be selecting the preset of social 4K. So to start the movie, I'm just going to start off by selecting an empty file. So I'm going to click on empty. And then we're presented with this. So this top section up here, this is your stage. Down here will be your timeline. And then all your options are here to the right. You've got the play, the perform, the timeline edit, draw, and the add content. But again, I'll be running through it as I use the tool. There's a hidden menu behind here, the stage options, which is there. And then we've got our movie settings, which is in Dreams, whatever your file name is. Mine's Dreams 5, but that's where that can be found. So let's start off. Before I import the videos, I want to change my frame rate and my resolution, mainly because some people may be animating on an older device. So I've changed all my videos to HD rather than 4K, just so everyone can partake. So to do this, I'm going to click on the movie settings, which is just located here to the left of stage options. And then I'm going to go on properties. And up here, the frames per second, I'm going to change this to 12. So I'm just going to tap and then select 12. And then with the width and the height, I'm going to change the width to 1080, 1080, and then the height to 1920. This is just a HD resolution. And then press done. Now we've got a small resolution file so we can use HD content. So now to import the videos that you just downloaded, I'm going to select the add content function, which is just here, the little plus icon. And then I'm going to select files. So I'm going to head over to my downloads, go inside the folder, and then I'm just going to select all 4 of them. And then open those up. Let's wait a second for those to import. So gestures-wise, similar. I'm not sure if you're coming from Procreate or if this is your first time using Procreate Dreams, but gestures-wise, so in the timeline, which is this bottom black section, to zoom in, we're just going to pinch with 2 fingers, and then to zoom out is to pinch again. And then to increase the height and the width of each track with 3 fingers, it's going to simply slide down and up to increase the height, and then to increase the width, I'm going to slide with 3 fingers right and left. So let's play this through. Let's see what we've got first. So just pressing the play icon. We've got a spoon of coffee coming in, and then we've got water pouring in, then milk, and then mixing the coffee. So this is what everyone's going to start with. Let me start off by showing you what we're going to be making today. So here's one I did earlier. So this is what we did to it after. And then we end with some little marshmallows coming to the top. So that's what we're going to be making in today's live session. So let's go back to the file.
People are loving it, Smit, just so you know.
So this is what we're starting off with. So here's the video. This little red bit here, this is called the playhead. So this is what we'll be using to navigate around our timeline. So firstly, what we're going to be starting with is, as you saw, we're going to be giving the video a title. For this video, it's going to be coffee time. So to start off with, we need to create a new track above the video track. And then on that, we're going to be writing coffee time. So to do that, on the right-hand side, we're going to be pressing the plus icon, and then we're going to be adding a track. As you saw, you got a little pop-up here. So this is your new track. And now, because we want to draw on this track, I'm just going to select the just a draw and paint tool. And feel free to use any brush, any color. For this, I'm just going to use one of the presets just so everyone can get involved. I like this one in the painting section. And then in the color, I'm going to be selecting white. You can either select one of your swatches, or you can just slide the sliders to get white. Like in Procreate, you've got your brush settings here on the left-hand side. So you've got your brush size, and then you've got your brush opacity. So I'm going to reduce the brush size to about 5%. And then I'm going to zoom in, pinching with 2 fingers. And then I'm going to have coffee along the top arc, and then time along the bottom. So make sure this layer is selected, and then you can just go ahead and write coffee. So I'm going to tilt this a little bit. To undo, I just tapped with 2 fingers and to Procreate. I'm going to reduce my brush size just a little bit. I'm going to zoom in and then write coffee time.
While you're writing, Smit, what was the brush that you were using for this one?
So for this one, it was under the painting section, and then it was called Nico Rull.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I've written coffee at the top, and then I'm just going to write time at the bottom. I'm going to undo that. It's a bit off center. I was just tapping with 2 fingers. There we go. I'm happy with that. So now we've written coffee time on this top track. I'm just dragging the playhead just to see what it looks like. So what I want to do now is I want to split this clip. I want it to stop where the first video ends. So I'm going to drag the playhead to the start of the second clip at the end of the first clip. And then I want to split the clip. So with the playhead, I'm going to tap on it once until a menu comes up. And then I'm going to select edit and then split. As you can see, a nice hard line's been put between these two. Now on the one on the right, I'm going to hold with 1 finger and then just delete content. So now if I play this back, it should stay on for the first clip and then it will be gone for the second one. That's perfect. So I've actually realized I've cut this a little bit too early. So to extend the clip, I'm going to tap on the clip. Then on the edge, I'm just going to drag it out 1 frame and then use the guides that are there to make sure it snaps to the end of the first clip. So now we've got to coffee time, just over the first clip. So let's add our first animation. Actually, before I do that, one bit of housekeeping is I'm going to label this track and highlight it just so it's easy to manage the file. So to do this, I'm just going to hold the clip. I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to call it coffee time. And to make it a bit more visually recognizable, I'm just going to hold the track again, click on highlight, and then change it to gray. So now when we zoom out, we can instantly see which track this bit of text is on. Now let's add some animation. So as you saw in the preview, I want to have it twisting in, but then also revealing at the same time. So to do this, I'm going to tap the playhead, and then I'm going to move, and then move and scale. So now we've been given this, there's red dots around the drawing, and then there's a little menu in the top right. So with this menu, if this doesn't come up, tap on your sketch, press the 3 dots, and now I want to edit the anchor point. This is the point in which the drawing is going to rotate around. So with this little cross here, I want to drag it to the center of the class, roughly around there. And then I'm just going to press done in the top right. And now to rotate it. So I want the text to finish here. So I'm going to drag this playhead across roughly about just before the clip finishes. And as you can see, the keyframe right now, this is called a keyframe track. So this keyframe is a dark red. When you tap on it, it turns white, which means that a keyframe has been created. So as soon as I tap that, it turns white. So now a keyframe has been created at this point in the timeline. So I'm going to drag back to the beginning now on the first keyframe. And when you hover, or if you tap on the sketch, you tap one of the red dots in the corner, you'll see this little arc, little line. I'm going to hold it and drag it, and it should rotate around the anchor point that you just created. So I'm just going to drag this maybe about 45 degrees that way. So now when I drag my playhead, you'll see that it animates into position. So I'm going to press play and see what that looks like. That's perfect. Now for the reveal, we're going to have to create a new keyframe, but for the opacity. So to do this, again, I'm going to tap on the playhead, make sure it's on the track rather than the keyframe. So I'm going to tap on the playhead, click on filter, and then opacity, and it's created a new keyframe track. So with this, I want it to reveal mid-motion. So I'm going to drag it in between the move and scale keyframes we did, and then tap, and it comes up with the amount. So I'm going to make sure that one's at 100. And then on the first one, I'm just going to tap on the first one, but then I want this one to be 0. So now we've created an opacity keyframe and a move and scale. So when we drag this, it should reveal and then turn into place. So if we play this, we've now animated our first bit of text. Perfect. And we can take it a step further by having it zoom in. So if we start on the scale and move keyframe, and if we end on the one that we created and then just drag this out with the red dots in the corners, just drag this out. So as it comes in now, it's going to scale just like that. And to match this with the video, we're going to have the video scaling out as well. So I need to tap on the video track on the first one, drag the playhead to the beginning. Again, like before, tap, want to click on move, and then move and scale. We want to leave that where it is. And then I want to make sure this keyframe is in line with the keyframe that we put on the text. And then I'm just going to tap to turn it white to create a keyframe. And then I'm going to drag out my video clip, just like that. So then if we drag the playhead back, everything should move and animate together, just like that. So that's our first bit of keyframes that we've used. So with 3 fingers, I'm just dragging down to reduce the height of the clip. That's the first bit. So now what we're going to do is when the coffee hits the base of the glass, we want to create some form of like ripple effect outwards. So to do this, we're going to be using another function in Procreate Dreams, which is called the flipbook. So to do this, I'm going to drag my playhead up here. And I want it to start where the coffee touches the base of the glass. So roughly around there. And now I want to create a new track. So click the plus button and then track. And now on this track, we're going to draw the ripple effect. So like before, we're going to click on the paint and draw tool. I'm going to change my brush for this one. I'm going to go under calligraphy. No, I'm going to go under inking, sorry. And then I'm going to use Baskerville, sorry. And you can choose any color you like. It's going to have a slight off-white. So I've gone on yellow and then saturated it a little bit and left it on white. So for this, what I want to do is we want the first frame to be quite bold. So to do this, we're going to just simply draw around your glass. Doesn't matter if it's neat, kind of adds to the effect. So just draw a circle around the rim of the glass. Making sure you don't go over the spoon, because then it looks like the spoon's been masked out. And now what I'm going to do is just do a rough wiggly line all the way around the glass. And then to fill this in, I'm going to close off my shape. And then like in Procreate, just click and drag to fill the shape. Then with the erase tool, I'm just going to rub out this spoon section. So this is on one frame and it's been repeated across the full video. All we want this just to be on a single frame. So in between the stage and the timeline, there's this little line here when the paint and draw tool selected. So with this line, I'm just going to drag it up until it pops into the flipbook function. So I'll do that one more time. So there's a little line here. I'm going to drag it up and then it pops into flipbook. So to create a new frame, I'm going to click on the one that we just drew and then click the plus button. So now we've got a new frame. But as you can see, we can't see the previous frame we drew. So for this, we're going to turn on onion skinning. This can be found in the stage options, which is just in this bottom left corner where you can see the time displayed. So I'm going to click on that and then click on show onion skinning. So now we can see the previous frame. So all I want you to do now is to trace around the outline of the first shape that you drew. Making sure the brush is selected. And then I'll just need to trace. Doesn't matter if it's a bit messy. And then I want to trace another slightly wiggly line, thickening some parts of the curve. Just like that. And now to create, you can tap and press the plus button, but the quickest way I like to do it is just to tap on the empty frame, which you can see next to it, just there. And now I'm going to do the same again, just trace around the outside line. And then the next frame, I want to increase the distance a little bit more. So I want the animation to start slow and then go quick. So I'm going to leave a bit more of a gap now. So the frame ends there. That's why I've not connected the full shape, because that's where the edge of the canvas is. Create another frame. And with the pressure of the pencil, I'm gradually reducing the pressure just so that the line is a bit thinner too. Just to make it look like the ripple is dissipating. So to get out of flipbook mode, you tap on the black area around the pop-up and then press the X. And then now we're back in timeline mode. So if we drag the playhead, let's see what we've done. When we play that back, it ripples out. Boom, just like that. So now we've added the rotating text and we've got a ripple from the coffee. So now we need to transition into the second clip. So I'm going to do this using keyframes again, just with a simple whip transition using a shape. So to keep up our organization, let's group these frames, these 8 frames that we've done. So I'm going to deselect the paint and draw tool, and then I'm going to select the edit, the timeline edit, which is the square in between the record and the draw. So I'm just going to tap on this icon and then just draw one line across all 8 of those frames. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit with 3 fingers, just widen it, and then hold on one of the frames until the menu pops up. And then I was going to group this. So now all of these is in one track, so it's easier to move around. And like before, let's name it and highlight it. So I'm going to go on, let's turn off the timeline edit, hold the track, rename. It's going to call this Ripple. And then let's add a highlight. I'm going to go on highlight, and then I'll do this one blue. So now we've got our coffee time text and our ripple. So now let's work on the transition between this clip and this clip. So like before, let's create a new track. I'm going to press the plus icon, click on track, and I'm going to zoom out on the stage, and then let's just draw one big rectangle over the whole frame. So brush tool selected. Again, you can choose any color you like. I'm going to go with an orange. And then I'm just going to draw a big rectangle around the entire stage. And then fill it in. It'll fill it in sections. So fill the frame first, and then I'm just going to fill the outside. So now we've got one big rectangle over the entire clip. So what I want to do, I'm going to slide the playhead. So I'm with 3 fingers, just swiping down to reduce the height. Then with 2 fingers, I'm just going to go maybe 1, 2, 3 frames over onto the next video. And then like before, I'm going to tap on the playhead, click on edit, and then split. So we split the initial clip. And then hold on the clip that we don't want, and then delete content. So now we've got this rectangle over the 2 clips. If we play that, it looks like it flashes, and then it shows the next clip. Well, let's animate this. So like before, we want to move this. So I'm going to click on the playhead, move, and scale. And I'm just going to drag this off to the top left. Then like before, I'm going to tap one of these red corners, and then with the little white line that pops out from next to it. Just going to rotate that and then move it so it's just to the top left-hand corner of the frame. And I'm going to drag the keyframe head to the end. I'm going to tap to create the keyframe, and then let's drag that over the clip. So now if we scrub this back, it should cover the frame to reveal the next clip. There we go, just like that.
Very cool way to do a transition between videos.
It's quite simple, but it's quite effective, which is nice. And like before, let's just rename it. So I'm going to hold the track, rename. Let's call this one a whip. And let's change this one to orange. So now we've got the whip, the ripple, and coffee time. So if we play back, let's just see what we've got. Got the ripple coming out, and then we've got the transition into the next clip. Perfect. Now we're on the second clip. So with this, the vision I had was to use the top rim of the glass as almost like a mask. So we draw over the top section, and then the viewer can see the liquid pouring into the coffee. So for this, we're going to be using the flipbook function where we trace frame by frame over the liquid that's pouring.
Hey, Smith, before you move into that section, just one quick question for you.
Yeah.
Folks were curious about like why you had the split. If you end up just deleting, like why you ended up splitting that track when you created the transition.
So you could have left it. So the clip could have extended all the way and filled the full timeline. I just like to do it just to keep the timeline quite organized, just so you can see where things are in frame. So you could have left it out, but I like to split it just to keep the full timeline quite organized.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so let's start on the trace over the liquid pouring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide to the frame where the liquid comes here at the top. For this, I'm going to turn off onion skinning, just because we've got the video as reference, so we don't need to see previous frames that we've drawn on. So I've clicked on the stage options and then hide onion skin. So I've slid the playhead to the part where the liquid comes in. I'm going to go on add content and then track. And then I'm going to click on the paint and draw. And then for this, I'm going to go for a yellow. I like this one. So feel free to use any of the colors you want. And like I said, I'm just going to trace over it. So with this, let's just trace over the blob. Just like so. And I like to enter into flipbook mode as soon as once I've drawn the first frame. I just like entering into flipbook mode just because it's a lot easier to create new frames, especially when you're doing a long bit like this. So I'm going to drag the line up to enter flipbook mode. I'm just going to place it up there. And then to create the new frame, click on the frame we just drew on, and then press the plus icon. And now let's just go frame by frame and trace over the pouring liquid. So a few ways you can do this. If you're using a thinner brush, you can draw the outline and then fill it in. So let's go on the next frame, just press the empty card just there. So I'll show you the one way you can do it. So you can draw around the outline and then drag the color to fill it in. Or you can use the pressure. So I'm pressing a lot harder on the screen now, just to go over it. And don't worry if you're not too neat on this. It kind of adds to the effect. For this type of process, it can be quite tedious because you are just tracing over frames. But it is quite rewarding once you get to the end of it, just because well, you'll see the results it gives is quite fun. You could do this a few ways. So like at the moment, I'm just tracing over with a flat color. But if you wanted to make it a bit more interesting, you could have each frame in a different style, different color, or you could even draw each frame with a lot of detail. Like if you can see the reflection in the water. If you wanted to, you could trace over all the detail and make it a lot more detailed, but with that, it does take a lot longer.
There's a lot of excitement out there at this, seeing how fun and simple this process is.
That's good. Yeah, it's good time for any questions as well.
Okay, let me see if we have any outstanding questions. And folks, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat.
I think it's really nice that we can import videos into the app and just draw directly on them, compared to like previously you'd have to export your video as frames, drag the frames in. So it's nice that you can play your video and just draw directly on it.
Yeah, it's really cool. As someone who doesn't animate at all, this is something I would try to do, which is just, I don't know how folks feel about that if they already experienced with animation, but this seems like a great entry point for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially because a lot of people, say if you're not the best at drawing, or if you're just getting into drawing, like using videos as frames to trace, but you can still add your own creativity. It's definitely a good point to start.
Yeah.
So as
Absolutely.
you saw, so we've transitioned from water to milk now. And the good thing is, because we're tracing over it, it's just going to look like one steady flow of liquid. But in the glass, it's going to change from a black coffee to a milky one. So what I'm going to do, because I'm planning on creating a transition into the next clip from here, I'm just going to close the flipbook function, and I want to make sure I'm no more than 8 frames from the end of the clip. So I'm going to drag the playhead to where the video ends, and then I'm just going to count back 8 frames. Along here, the ruler, there's little numbers up here, so I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm just going to go back into flipbook mode and draw on this frame, just so that I know when I get to it, I need to start working on the transition, just so it gives me enough frames to do that. So I'm going to close the flipbook again. And then as you see, so it's created a frame there in the middle of nowhere, but we're going to get to that. So let's go back to the last frame we drew, drag up to enter flipbook mode, and let's just carry on until we get to that keyframe that we just, until we get to that frame that we just drew. And then I'll show you how we can create a simple transition into the next clip. Hope everyone
Someone
can.
asked if you could duplicate a frame.
Yeah. So to duplicate, it's pretty simple. So we go into the timeline view, and then you just hold on the track, and then up here next to copy, it's just duplicate, and then
Awesome.
it duplicates the frame just next to it.
Awesome. Thank you. And then one other question as you're drawing is, someone's mentioned that like they could do some of these things in their video editing software. What are you most excited about with using video in Procreate Dreams versus like what you had access to doing just from previous video editing software you've used?
The thing I like about this is just how simple it is. Like, firstly, your canvas, you see your full screen. There's no interface. There's nothing crowding the video. There's no need to zoom in all the way just in order to see what you're drawing. But also, secondly, it's like, I've come from Procreate, so the interface is very intuitive and like it's familiar. So drawing, it feels like I'm drawing in Procreate, which is nice. But also just the functionalities, like the brush tools, the erase, the smudge, all the effects and stuff. It's just, I think it allows for a lot more creativity. Plus, you drawing directly on the video. I'm not sure if other people have, say, tablets or like the drawing tablets, which you plug into your computer, where you have to look up at your screen, but then you're drawing on a blank surface. So I just like being able to scrub through the timeline and draw all with the same tool, rather than switching between the mouse and a pencil.
Makes a lot of sense. A lot of good reasons.
Okay, so now we've reached the frame that we drew. So if we look back, here you can see all the frames that we've just drawn. So if we play that back, let's see what we've done. So I'm just going to click the playhead, Let's just play that. So that's what we've made so far. So now I want to transition this into the next clip. So I want the liquid coming down, filling the screen, and then revealing the next clip. That was the reason for having the 8 frames. So I'm just going to drag the playhead to the previous frame that we drew. Let's enter flipbook mode again. And for this, I want to turn on onion skinning again. So I'm just going to go over to the stage options and then show onion skinning. I'm going to edit this, edit the onion skin. So I'll click on edit onion skin. And then I just want to see just one of the previous frames. And then I'm just going to drop the opacity to around 25%. And then I can click off to hide that. So now I want the liquid to go past the rim of the glass, and then we're going to be filling the screen with it. So with this, I'm just going to start with just a little droplet just at the end of the frame that we drew. And then new frame. So as you can see in the purple, you can see where we've just drawn. So firstly, let's go over the milk. Let's fill that. And then I want the drop to go just a little bit further. And bear in mind, so I'm counting my frames. So now we've got 7 frames left. So I need to make sure by the 7th frame, the full screen is covered in order for this effect to work. So I'm just tracing over the milk first. And let's have a much bigger, just a 2-finger on tap, 2-finger tap to undo. Much bigger blob. Now we're on the 4th frame. So start by tracing over the milk again. Let's fill that. Now let's come a lot lower. Now this one, let's just fill the entire bottom of the screen.
While you're tracing some more, Smith, a question we got was folks love the video samples you provided. They were wondering if they could use them as practice and post to their own socials. And I just wanted to get your take on how you feel about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. That'll be great. Definitely tag me in it as well, so I can provide some feedback for when you're working on future video projects.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely give Smith credit for the video and tag him. That way you can keep the conversation going there. I'll drop his handle in the chat right now. 1 second.
So this is the last frame before we enter in the next clip. So I'm just gonna last bit of milk that falls, and I'm gonna bring this line all the way up, just like that. And then on the next frame, because it's the start of the new video, I'm just going to drag the color and fill the entire screen. So if I close the flipbook, let's see what we've done with this transition. So that fills the entire screen, which is nice. So if we drag the playhead all the way back, press play. So the milk's filling up, covers, and then we into the next video. So with this, now I want the color to drain off the screen. So I'm going to go back into flipbook. So I'm just going to drag the line in between it. And then on the next frame, just draw a squiggle on the top of the screen and then fill the bottom half. And then as the frame goes on, I'm just going to gradually reduce the squiggle. Next frame, I'm going to reduce it just a little bit first. And then on the third one, a bit more of a gap. The fourth one, much bigger gap. And the fifth one, so now I want to reduce the spacing again, so a bit less. New frame. And then another frame. And a little bit in the corner. Then on this frame, it should go. One thing I like to do is I like to go back into the timeline mode and then just go back a few frames and then add in a few trailing blobs just to add to the effect. So I'm just dragging and then using the onion skinning to know where the last frame was to make it a bit more convincing. With this, the further it goes down, I'm going to stretch this a little bit now. 2-finger on tap. And then just fill this in. I'm going to have another one coming down here. And then the next frame, so this is traveled quite a bit, so I'm going to have a long, thin one. Same with this one here. And then I want to pretty much disappear, so just a tiny little trail. Same with this one. And then on this one, just a little dot. And then by the last one, it's gone. So if we play this back right from the beginning of the frame trace, we've got liquid pouring in, and then it fills the screen, and then it drains. And then we're in the final clip. You can play it slowly with the hand, just going frame by frame, just to see what it looks like. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group all of these individual frames that we drew, and I'm going to add another keyframe to it to change the color. So I'm going to head over to the timeline edit, which is just a square. And like before, just draw over all those frames until they're all turned red. And then I'm just going to zoom into one of them, hold the frame, and group. So now it's one solid frame. Let's start off by renaming it just to make sure everything stays tidy. So let's deselect the timeline edit, hold the track, rename, let's call this one milk. And then hold it again, and let's change the highlight to yellow. So we'll start roughly about 4 or 5 frames in. Let's tap on the playhead, click on filter, and then HSB. So what it's automatically done, it's created a keyframe at the beginning. So let's hold that and delete keyframe. And now let's drag to when after the milk finishes. So about there. Making sure your playhead's on the track, drag it down so your playhead changes into the HSL keyframe. Tap that, and now let's change the color. Let's go for a, what am I feeling? Let's go for like a coral color. Just tap off that. So now if we drag our playhead, as you can see in the preview, it changes from yellow to orange to teal. So we play that, go from yellow to teal, from yellow to coral. And one thing to mention is wherever you place your timeline, so if I zoom in and only have this draw bit visible, that's the only thing that'll play on loop. So it's good to see how you've done certain things. So say if I just want to see how the last bit looks, I can just zoom in, and then it shows just the last bit that I drew. That's a good little thing I like to do. So I'm just going to pause that. So if we play back what we've done so far, let's see how it looks. So we've got coffee time coming in, we've got the ripple, and then the transition. We've traced over each frame, and then it transitions into the final clip now. We're going to be using another function, the perform tool. So let's drag the playhead right to the end. I'm going to wait until I've finished mixing the coffee. And then when the drop, there we go. So there's a little bit of coffee just dripping back into the drink. So I'm going to drag the playhead there. And instead of creating a new track, because I trimmed all the clips before, it gives me a lot of space over here. So there's no need to make a new track. We can just draw on one of the existing ones. So I'm just going to zoom in and click on the paint and draw tool. And for this, I want some sort of marshmallows coming in. So I'm going to change my color to a slight off-white color. And then press done. Oh, sorry, no. Make sure you paint and draw tool selected. On the brush, I'm going to leave it on Baskerville, and I'm just going to reduce the size. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to animate the marshmallow coming out of the drink, and then I'm going to have it swirling around. So to do this, I'm going to start off by drawing a tiny triangle, almost like a little mountain. I'm going to call that in. And then, like before, I'm going to enter flipbook mode, drag that line up, and then tap on the frame we just drew, click the plus icon. And Onion Skins is activated, so we can see what we've done. And now I'm going to make the base a little bit wider. Actually, I'm going to start in the same point on the left, having it come a little bit more. Fill that in. And then the next frame, it's going to be the same again, but a little bit further out. Oh, put a double finger to untap. And then the next one. Cleaning up the edges of the ship. Now we zoom out and we play that back. Got a marshmallow coming up from the liquid. So now let's add a little detail on. So to do this, we're going to be creating a frame above this and then turning that into a clipping mask in order to draw some texture and some detail in the shape that we just made. So just on the frame above, actually firstly, so let's group all these together. So go back onto the timeline edit, draw a line through the 6 frames that we just made. And then hold and then group. So to see what's in our group, just press the little arrow next to the word group. And what I want to do now is I want to drag our frame, I want to drag our track to fill the rest of the timeline. And then I'm going to do the same for the last drawing we did. Just like that. So if we play that back, the marshmallow should stay there. Perfect. And now let's create the track above it to create a clipping mask. So with your playhead here, I'm just going to press the plus track. So it's created the track in the group, which is perfect. And now I'm going to go on the paint and draw, go over to brushes, and then you can choose any brush you like. I'm going to go on to painting and then back to Ricoh roll. And then for this, I want a darker color. So I'm just going to click on the color and then add a bit of saturation and reduce the brightness. I'm just going to zoom in and then just draw. So as you see, it's nowhere in, it's not in the shape, it's just on its own. So I'm going to hold the track we just did and then go on mask and then turn this into a clipping mask, and now it's within the shape. So I'm just gonna erase this and I'm gonna reduce the opacity just a little bit. So I can press lightly and add a little bit of shading. And like before, let's enter flipbook mode. Tap the plus, and then let's add a bit more texture. So what we're going to do on each one, turn it into a clipping mask. I'm going to draw all the texture on first, and then I'll go through and change them to clipping mask, just because it's a little bit easier.
Hey Smith, we had a question about the clipping mask. Can you make the entire layer a clipping mask without selecting each frame?
Yeah, you can, but because I want each one to move with the marshmallow being revealed, I've decided to do it frame by frame. But say if I just create a track here, it fills the entire thing. So with this, within this, it would be a clipping mask for that entire thing, but it wouldn't move. So you see there, it's within the shape, but it's not going to move because I'm doing it with each because I'm doing it with each different frame. I've done it like this.
Got it. Thank you.
I'm just going to hold, mask, clipping mask, just two more. Mask, clipping mask. And now we can see it's a clipping mask because it's got this little symbol just between the layers and the dashed line. So that's a good way to know where your clipping masks are. And now with this final one, let's just drag it out to, oops, deselect control. Let's just drag it out to fill the rest of the timeline. So if I play this back, we should reveal and then stay there. I'm going to add a little bit more detail. So going on to the clipping mask layer, I'm going to go back onto the draw, change the brush back to the one that I was using. So I'm just going to go on recent and then Baskerville, change the color to a darker, maybe a brown. Just reduce the brush size. Play this back. That marshmallow rising from the coffee. So here's for the fun part. So now I want the marshmallow spinning with the liquid as we mixed it. So with this, we're going to be using the perform function. So I'm just going to drag the playhead back to the beginning of this clip. And then I'm going to minimize the group by just tapping the arrow. Tap on the playhead and then go move and scale. And now press the record button. So now with this, as soon as you touch your pen to the screen, it's going to start recording. So if I just touch it, you'll see down here, the playhead starts moving. This is because you get to move it with your pencil. So as soon as I touch the pencil, I'm going to start swirling around, and then I'm going to gradually slow down as I come towards the end of the clip. So I'm going to have it go in, swirl around, and my eyes are down here, and then I'm just going to let go. So if I play this back now, I'm going to press stop to play this back. There we go. Just like that. And then I'm just going to make sure the keyframe doesn't go over the last clip. There we go. And then I'm just going to duplicate this layer and then do the same. So to duplicate, just hold, duplicate. And when you duplicate, it puts it next to the track that you just duplicated. So I'm just going to hold and then drag it on top. And then with this one, I'm going to offset it a little bit so it doesn't come out at the same time. And you can delete the keyframes of a whole track altogether. So in the gap between the keyframe track, I'm just going to hold and then delete, move, and scale. So now it's still again, just like it was before. And then we can perform again like we did. So before we perform, I'm just going to move it to a different place, maybe over there. And now, like before, I'm just going to tap on the playhead, go on move and scale, and then zoom out so I can see the full clip. I'm going to press the perform tool and then get ready to move it straight away. So I'm just going to come down, just like that. So if I play that back, we should now have two marshmallows floating in our coffee. just like that. And I'm just going to make sure the clip is ending there. It's perfect. So I'm going to stop that now. So if we zoom out all the way, and a quick way to play a video is just drag your playhead right to the beginning, and then we can see the whole video playing.
So cool, Smith.
There we go, just like that.
Really, really cool.
So four finger tap to turn it to full screen. Play one more time. There we go.
Well done, Smith. Getting lots of applauses and congratulations and thanks from the chat to see, a lot of terrifics and hand claps at all the good things. Thank you so much. This was super cool to see the whole process, and you managed to squeeze it in less than an hour and make things really clear. And you also seem so relaxed and effortless while doing it. So well done. That was really fun to watch. Thanks for teaching such an awesome hour-long session on this.
I hope everyone could follow along. I hope I weren't going too quick.
There's two questions about frames. One of them was, is it possible to reverse frames? And then someone else asked if it's possible to like select a group of frames and just lengthen the time for each of those frames all at once.
So with that, I've not found a way to do that at the moment. I've just been doing it manually. So say if I'm just going to draw over this just to show. So like, say if I draw, let's change the brush to something more visible. I'm going quite quick here. So say if I draw a frame, change to flipbook, and then just another frame. I'm just drawing just to prove it on. So what I've been doing at the moment is just dragging them out and then manually extending them. I'm not sure if they're like in a future update or if there's a way of bulk doing it, but like with the time that I've been spending with the app, I haven't found a quick way to do it apart from that at the moment. Maybe if you maybe this, can you extend? Oh, so there is a way you can do bulk.
There you go.
You as well.
Cool. So can you walk through how you did that again?
Yeah. So I created the frames. So say I've drawn all my frames out. You can just so I'm just going to extend them to each one taking up 2 frames rather than 1. Oh. So say you spaced out your frames, I'm just going to go on timeline edit, select them all, and then selecting the edge of one, you can extend all your clips at once. That's
awesome.
Cool.
That's really cool. Real-time discoveries. We love it. And then someone else asked, while we're on the topic of frames, is it possible to reverse a frame? Do you know if you can do that?
I don't think that's something you can do at the moment.
Okay. Cool. Cool. That was cool to see the kind of selecting group and the extend piece. And then someone, when you were going over the clipping mask, somebody asked if you can add a clipping mask on a group. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So I'll show you. So say this group here that we've made. So let me deselect one of the layers so you can see the marshmallow that I'm working on. So say this layer here. So we've got motion and there's the clipping mask within here. But say this was just a blank, what do you call it? This was just a blank sketch. We've got it moving around. So let's create a track above it. So pressing the add content track. And then in this layer, say if I just want texture. So I'm going to go on painting. This one looks quite textured. And then let's select the color, you can see it. So say if I just just draw a squiggle. Just like before. So you can hold up the track, go on mask, clipping masks, and now it's going to be within the marshmallow.
Oh, wow.
Just like that. One thing I like to do as well is
That's
with
really
this, you
cool.
can still add effects to this because it's a track on its own. It is acting as a clipping mask, but it's also a track on its own. So you can add all the effects, the move, the scale, and the opacity. So there's a fun little thing. So you can tap, filter, you can change the color. So let's have the color changing. So it's changing color and within the mask. And then you can add a move as well. So drag your playhead so it's on the clapperboard, move, scale and rotate. And one thing I like to do is just use the perform tool to this. It's fun. So press the perform function, and then with this, just rotate it. And now when you play that back, it looks like the textures all jittery.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, it's like changing texture behind it.
So yeah, you can add clipper master groups.
Very cool. That was a great question and great demonstration. Thank you. Cool. And then
Oh, I've not
I
gone over
guess
export.
the
Someone
export, someone just queued the export up. Maybe you can show the export, and then I just have one more general question and we can move to the closing slides. But yeah, it would be cool to see the export process.
So the export, I'm just going to head over to the movie settings just here. So I'm going to click on that and then click on share. And then I'm just going to share it as a video. Click on video, let it export. And then I'm going to save this to my videos. So this will be in the Photos app just here. And then there we have our final video. And then you can share that wherever you like. Oh, forgot to remove the the demonstration squiggles.
It's a little extra flavor there. Very cool. Yeah, thanks for showing that export function. Very cool. So on the note of kind of like videos, and one of the really cool things with watching you do this is how well you set things up just with the short 4 videos. Do you have any tips or suggestions for people on like how, like what types of videos they might want to use, or how to just get those videos set up to have a more straightforward and simple animation project as they're getting started?
So I think a good way to start is even if you start with one video. So like with this, I wanted to cover 4 videos. This was just a smaller project just to see the difference in things you can do to each video clip. So like say with this section, we added a bit of text, and then the transition, the whip transition in between them. So that was like today was like showing a way in which you can combine a few clips together by using animation and illustration to blend it into one. But a good way to start is even if you just have a still video, it could be of like a cityscape, it could be of like your desk setup, and then just drawing on it, whether you want to use the flipbook function and just draw frame by frame, or if you want to, you could even have like say a little blob bouncing around your desk. So if you've got a little video or even a picture of your desk, and then using the perform tool, you can bounce the little ball around your desk, and then maybe as it hit certain aspects of your desk, you can draw around it. So say if you have a ball bouncing on, say, your laptop, your iPad, as it touches, like when we did the ripple effect, you can do that around the screen to make it look like it's responding to the animation that's interacting with your videos. So I think a good way to start is just having one video and then just playing with it, just seeing where your imagination takes you.
Yeah, I love that. Just like keeping it simple to start off, right? So there's not too many things going on, and you can really play with a
Yeah.
small canvas and then expand from there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And this was such great video examples that you provided to kind of emphasize that, like that you can, with the simple video, you can really do so much in this app. So it was really cool to see how you brought so much creativity out of a simple task many of us are doing. In fact, a lot of people were commenting that they can't wait to go have some coffee after this session. They're
Oh, amazing.
they're ready for their coffee. Very, very cool. Thanks for sharing that. And then before I go to the closing slides, a big question someone asked, people are loving your teaching style and they're curious if you're going to be teaching any beginner classes on Procreate Dreams. So yeah, would love to hear what you have in the works if you want to share just a little bit about what you're developing.
Yeah, so there are 3 to 4 classes that I'm be working on, each with different topics. So one focused on illustration, one focused on video content. So I'll be going a lot further into the type of video that I did today. There's going to be another one focused on storytelling. And then there's going to be a beginner one where we'll be making a very simple project, which I'm sure many of you will be able to use. But yeah, stay tuned. They will be available soon. So yeah, it's quite exciting.
Everyone, thanks so much for joining. It was really cool to see everyone's comments in the chat and see how excited everyone is. And Smit, thank you so much for preparing this amazing live class. It was just so cool to see you work through this in real time and make something really, really fun. So everyone, please share your work in Procreate Dreams with us on Instagram. You can tag Skillshare, Procreate, and then I also dropped in Smit's Instagram handle, Design with Smit. Go follow him, like his posts, and share what you're working on with him. I'm sure he'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. So next up, um, I know there was a lot covered and many folks couldn't keep up, which is totally okay. Know that Smith was moving through this, having had a little bit of experience in the app. But you can watch the recordings. You can check back at this link we have up here, procreatedreams.skillshare.com. The recordings will be up next week. And we'll also email those out once they are ready. And there are also going to be recordings for the past 3 live sessions we did, or sorry, today's live session, the live session on Monday and Tuesday with Lisa Bardot and Danny Fisher-Shin, which were also great. So check those out. And you can also get updates on all the classes. These are like the classes on Skillshare that you can watch about Procreate Dreams from these amazing teachers. So check out that link, bookmark it, and we're excited to be launching some of our on-demand classes for Procreate Dreams very soon, so you can keep on learning. All right, everybody, this is us wishing you a beautiful rest of your day. Keep on creating. I hope you enjoy Procreate Dreams, and stay tuned with Skillshare for more on this app. And yeah, thanks again, Smit.
Thanks a
Bye,
lot.
everybody.